cry too.
Yeah, no, that does say a lot. So my name is Becky, and I was a critical care nurse, and will be again someday, I'm sure. I had a very severe fall in 2019, so it's been about 3 years. And when I went to the first doctor, said, "Oh, if you're not broken or burned, we send you back to work." Well, I went back to work on one crutch, three limbs, and in a daze. And I couldn't even function. And as a nurse, my fellow nurses were like, "What are you doing here? You probably have a concussion." I'm like, "Oh yeah, I'm sure I do." And about 5 days after that, I woke up, my head was gonna explode. I was like, okay, I have a brain bleed. And so I called and said, "I need a CAT scan." That was totally normal. Well, thank God it was, but there was still something wrong with me. And after going through several doctors, went to one neurologist who said, "Oh, well, your MRI is perfectly normal." And my husband looked at him and said, "But she's not normal. How can we fix her?" And he's like, "We'll try another medication." And medications are great, and I do take medication, but that's not the only answer. Once I got through the initial physical therapy of just being able to walk and my limbs that were strained and sprained and everything, we realized how bad the concussion was, and they reclassified it as a mild traumatic brain injury. And they sent me to PM&R to do rehab. He sent me to the top, I'm from North Cincinnati, so in Cincinnati, to some top brain, some therapy that specializes in brain injury, so severe strokes, all kinds of developmental problems. I saw speech for cognitive therapy. I saw physical therapy for vestibular training. Those were all helpful, but the problem was I kind of was stopped by the severe migraine, the severe light sensitivity, the balance issues, the brain fog, can't concentrate, can't remember, can't look at white on black, can't get on a computer, can't handle fluorescent light at all. And they finally said, "You have to get more help. We can't help you anymore until you can get this under control." And finally, it took 11 months to find a good neurologist who would listen to me and knew that there was a problem. And between the physical therapist who was doing the vestibular therapy had experience with Dr. Curtis, and this neurologist had experience with Dr. Curtis, they told me to go to him. And I got to him, and as soon as we could get it scheduled, we did a round of OMST. And we're 2 hours away, and so my husband, that was 2020, so it was a COVID, so he was working from home, so he was able to bring his computer and work from a hotel, and he just took me back and forth each day. And the OMST, it has so many things. It sounds a little intimidating when you think about it, and it can be. But at that point, I was willing to try anything, and my husband was willing to force me to try anything, because similar to Sabrina, I was irritable, I was emotional, I had no energy, I was in pain. I had to have room darkening lights. We had to have an electrician come and put dimmer switches on every light in the house. I couldn't be around my grandchildren, who of course I loved. I missed family dinners, family birthday parties for the grandkids, because 2 and 3-year-olds don't know how to be quiet, and I couldn't handle that. And I couldn't go to church anymore. I was used to doing medical missions trips. I couldn't do that. And so I did that, and I saw some dramatic improvement. I also then, after that improvement, I had better balance. I think that was one of the biggest things. I could walk, like if we had been in here prior to that, and one of you guys were walking towards me and I was walking that way, I would have felt like I was going to fall down. So that was a huge difference. I was not lightheaded every time I moved. I had less migraines, and they were lower in frequency. I still had them. I was still taking medication with the neurologist, but all the symptoms improved. I then did therapy, vision therapy and occupational therapy with Holly at with Dr. Curtis's office, and fortunately, since we live so far away, they had, because of COVID, come up with the home Zoom type therapy. And so I did that and saw even more progress, significant progress.
Because you were engaged, now ready to receive that vision therapy in a better way than you ever had. So we could have sent you back to any other professional and they would have said, wow, now you're responding.
Yes,
yeah,
my neurologist was impressed.
Yeah.
She really saw the difference, saw the change in the amount of medications I was taking. I actually did, and I don't know if this is common, but I actually did a second round of OMST a year later. So I just did it this last October into November, and had even more, I totally overdid it November, December with the holidays. We talk about pacing and planning, about staying in a comfort zone, not overdoing it, getting into that danger zone. I totally overdid it because I was so excited, I was feeling better. But mid-January, it was like I woke up. I did not have to like lay in the recliner for like 4 hours every afternoon because I couldn't even function because I was just so tired because I was trying to do so much. I felt better, but I wasn't there yet. And mid-January, my husband, he looked at me, he said, I feel like that's when I got you back. Am I 100%? No.
Right.
But I am way, way closer than when I started with Dr. Curtis,
Oh, good, great.
coordinating with the neurologist.
So Becky, the walking towards somebody and them coming at you and then just feeling off kilter. And, okay, I used to be a big yoke prism user, still do. Before then I started realizing I don't need the yoke prism. Let's get them through the OMST, and then if they still need it, great. But this does so many other things other than just balance and walk that, hey, why not just get the entire global sensory integration foundation built first? Then we're going to have much more success on all those other things, whether it's yoke prism, et cetera, et cetera. The other thing about the emotions, it's so powerful. Whoever uses Syntonics in here understands how we can affect emotions with Syntonics, but this is even more powerful. You see that affect, that personality coming back within 12 days, maybe sometimes a few days, maybe it's 30 days till we see it, but all of a sudden it's there. The brightness, the glow of my wife is back. I got my wife back, and so forth. So.
And the friend said, you know, your speech is just now, it's animated again. Before, she said, you were so slow and methodical and had to think through it.
And all that.
Yeah, monotone. I couldn't even think of good words.
Right.
You know, and now I can come up with more applicable words, and I can use 3 and 4 syllable words that I couldn't before.
So at the bottom of this handout is the kind of the direction in which you get the multisensory processing going. At the bottom, with those stimulations, you'll get that motions, memory starts getting, the brain gets clearer. Then we get our executive function potential back, and we can start receiving all those inputs. All right, thank you, Becky. Very nice. Alicia, she has herself and her daughter.